Evening, everyone. My name is Jason Lee. I'm the urban designer of the Grange Park. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about my design. But before I start, I just want to say your presence here today is a big shot in the arm for the entire team. Personally, I feel there couldn't be a better milestone for the past year events leading up to this very moment. I could still recall, just about 5 years ago, we ended a nationwide, decade-long campaign against leaky homes. I was then an architectural technician, dodging bullets on the front line of timber remediations, opening cans of worms with FAP. It was then when I first witnessed how timber structure can crumble right between my fingers, like an Oreo cookie. We then experienced the property boom. And before we knew it, we were paying for the price of success. As a father of 2 kids, I find it a real struggle to upgrade. And the school zones, they just turned sacred. Auckland responded with special housing area and unitary plan. And as a zoning plan, it promotes higher density living, despite the quarter-acre dreams. Still, the quest was on. An army of LBPs were already summoned, and everyone was looking for some sort of middle ground between size and proximity, between affordability and quality, and sometimes between reality and fantasy. I gotta say this, the industry was not doing well. Major players were already making a loss in the middle of a housing shortage. Something was not right, and I complained. Until one day I realized I can do something about it. And when I was engaged as a lead designer by a real developer with real opportunity and real data, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And if we fast forward to now, we have this, our first townhouse typology. Not the usual Taj Mahal you were expecting, no. If anything, it looks more like burger flipping, and I'm no French cook. Guilty as charged. But sometimes it is a simple product that requires the most effort and research, and this is no exception. Thanks to our showroom, I believe a lot of it is visible. So I only have 3 items on my list today, which I wish to share with everyone, because they tell the story. They are the site, the light well, and portal frames. So firstly about the site. You already know that this is 184 spacious home on a very long site. Yes, you are right, and it is derived. For years, I've been working on an algorithm for optimizing subdivisions based on inputs such as minimum vacant lot size and minimum functional dimension of a given product. The most prominent observation to be taken from its evolution is that the program always tries to stretch the span of the vacant lot. In other words, it tries to increase the distance between rows. As it turned out, it eventually translates to a higher product floor area to row area ratio. Furthermore, the longer distance between rows also promotes rear length and the sort of back and front product that are known to promote safety and public parking efficiencies. So it was then when I realized it is going to be a product-driven approach, even at the subdivision stage. For if we have an elongated and effective back and front product, if we can figure out its dimension, we can maximize GFA, reduce its unit development costs, and promote traffic. That brings me to my second point right over here, the product itself. I call this the light well typology. The immediate challenge faced by any product with long span is the occurrence of dark areas around the center of the floor plates. Now, we see that a lot in apartment designs, especially those converted from offices. But since now we're developing unsaturated product with only 2 to 3 stories in volume, the light well suddenly becomes an option that can turn this challenge into a feature. Imagine if you have a window that's practically facing the sky, it must be pumping in more daylight than any other vertical window, regardless of orientation. This is why even our southern units have plenty of sunshine. But that's not all. The light well typology also demonstrates great sectional flexibility, meaning it can adapt to a fair bit of change in contour. 4, minimizing retaining on the sloping side, or for raising particular part of the building above overland floor plans, or in this case, for raising the entry platform so that the product will have better privacy and passive surveillance onto the street for neighborhood safety. The void around the center of the structure functions much like a joint. One can imagine just by changing the landing of the staircase, you can move the floors on either side of the void up and down. This liberation of floor levels resulted in the most specific ceiling height. For example, the lounge is given 3 meters. The kitchen, being more utilitarian, is 2.4. The garage is 2.2. Each space takes what is needed without compromising each other because the floors are free. And this shifting force in section also separates the interior space so they can be independent but still connected visually and acoustically. Perfect for, say, a large family, maybe with different hobbies and want to do things separately, but still want to maintain that subtle communication. So the light well and the void below really becomes the focal point for this typology in terms of functions and feel. For my last point, I really want to give credit to our structural engineer for the portal frame design. Portal frames are essentially integrated steel columns and beams, and they are inevitable when we're using the new JIP intertenancy barrier system, where no structural penetrations can be made along those intertenancy walls for fire and acoustic reasons. So you either go for bracing efficiency or end up overspending on structure. Fortunately, our engineers are able to come up with a moment connection for the base of a portal frame. They deduce that the very same portal frame, when using moment connection, is almost 3 times as effective in bracing than the normal pin connected ones. The catch? There are 2 connection points embedded into the concrete foundation. It does require a bit more effort, but we nevertheless made the commitment where necessary and increased structural integrity without escalating costs in our design. So with that, I finished all my highlights. And it is with great satisfaction that I present to you again the light wall typology. It is the most optimized product from years of research. In other words, as far as burger flipping is concerned, this bad boy here may very well cater to our taste. We love it because it has layers and it is in the right location too. I thank you again for your kind attention, everyone. Please feel free to approach any of the well-trained buffer agents for a thorough walkthrough, because today we launch. Thank you.